Hello, everyone. Welcome to Where Are All the Women? I'm Meghan Murphy. This is Mary Lou Singleton.
Hello.
I have to choose between having my Team Turf t-shirt in the frame or my button in the frame. I guess I should have the t-shirt. Who cares about my button, right?
Yeah, I mean, otherwise you have to just back up. Yeah, Team Turf is good.
Okay. How are you doing? Year of the Fire Horse started yesterday, right?
Oot, yeah.
Today. Did it start today or yesterday?
Today. Today is the new moon.
How are you feeling?
I think it's good. The Fire Horse, that's like a shake 'em up, energetic, moving sign. Did you know that for millennia, every time there was a fire horse year, they killed every single female baby in China?
What?
Yeah, the fire horse women are, they don't submit and they don't honor tradition. And the fear is that they will bring shame on the family and bring down dynasties. So it was a really rough time to be a newborn baby girl if you were born in a fire horse year.
Well, I hope that if there's anyone watching who is a woman who was born in the year of the fire horse, they're feeling defiant.
Yes, totally. And I take, I'm hopeful that lots of little girls will come in this year.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I feel good. I feel motivated. You're not supposed to, it might be too late for you, but you're not supposed to cut your hair or wash your hair today.
Today?
Or clean anything. But I already did the dishes, I realized.
I rarely clean anything.
And I cleaned the toilet, which I never do. What has come over me? Oh no, I hope I haven't screwed up too badly.
Why aren't you supposed to do those things?
I don't know. I just saw on the internet that you're not supposed to do these. Because it's like it was like you're clearing out your good money luck or something like that.
Good thing I never clean.
I know. I never clean either, but I did some minor cleaning today, which is sort of out of character. Like,
no,
I really am not a cleaner.
Yeah, you messed it all up. It's also Mardi Gras. It's Fat Tuesday, and then tomorrow is Ash Wednesday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. It's like a big, big, big party week here in Sayulita. So it's like coming up to Sayulita days, and the feria, like the fair, just got here. So there's a lot of tourists in town. Pretty annoying.
Because of Mardi Gras, yeah.
I don't think we don't do Mardi Gras here. People keep telling me that we do, but we don't. It's Sayulita days. Like it's like a days of, it's like festival leading up to the town days. And I think there's another rodeo or something. There was already one. I never keep track. They don't really advertise things in a way that advertises things here. People just seem to somehow know what's going on.
They just know when the fiestas are. Yeah. But most of the Mexican fiestas are tied to saint days and Catholic holy days. So it probably has something to do with Mardi Gras.
I don't know. Let me look this up. I mean, it's just, like it's a big party from the night. I think the fair is sort of open a bit now, but I think it's officially open on the 19th. So from the 19th to the 24th, it's like a big party. And it's because it's Flag Day, right? I knew that. Okay. Flag Day is the 24th. Okay. And so we call the week is called like Sayulita days, and it's just party.
Well, so they're into Lent. They're not fasting and atoning. They're partying.
No, we're not fasting or atoning. But so the town's packed right now in any case. And I got bit on the face by a dog.
No, a chihuahua?
No, it was a little fluffy dog though. Not as small as a chihuahua, like sort of like a medium-sized fluffy dog. It's not a very bad bite. There's a little mark here. It could have been much worse considering that I got bit in the face by a dog.
How did this happen?
I was holding the fluffy dog and it bit me in the face. The guy who owns, supposedly this dog does this, like it's normal for it to bite people's faces. So I'm sort of like, why did you hand me the dog to hold and talk to with my face when you know that the dog bites faces? So it's like,
I know.
It was more shocking than anything. Like something spooked it or something happened that freaked it out, I guess. Who knows what. But
we had a dog that was a face biter for a while, and it just ruined our social life. Like we couldn't.
Yeah, it would be so stressful because you wouldn't know, like people obviously want to kiss dogs and like hug dogs, and you wouldn't know if maybe something terrible was going to happen, because it doesn't, even a little tiny dog can do some really bad damage to the face. To your face.
Totally. Well, it looks like you're not going to need plastic surgery or anything. Yeah.
No, it's hardly anything. It's just a little scrape. So this week, I feel like Transanity is coming to a head. It's been coming to a head for, I think, since Trump was elected and a bit prior. But I feel like now, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to go so far as to say, because this keeps never happening, that all of a sudden, I think some people are saying, oh, well, because of these two horrible shootings that just happened by these two men who identify as trans, this is really going to snap people out of it. I don't think that's true. I think the people who are already snapped out of it are just like, fuck this. But I don't think the progressives are like, I think they're doing the opposite thing, to be honest.
I don't think they're ever going to snap out of it. I really don't have any faith that they will. And you watch how the stories are being told in the different propaganda streams. Like the only place to find it was the Rhode Island shooting where the guy shot up his family at the hockey rink. I think that was in Rhode Island. The only news outlets covering it are so-called right-wing, like the New York Post, the Daily Mail. And most liberals are so brainwashed, they won't listen to anything from those propaganda outlets. They only listen to their propaganda outlets. Like, well, until the New York Times covers it, I don't believe it's true. It's really upsetting to me.
Yeah, I'm just enraged at all of the coverage in the Canadian media. I mean, places like True North and Juno News, which you probably never heard of in America, but these are sort of more alternative right-leaning outlets in Canada, that progressives would never in a million years read. They probably, if they've heard of them, they probably think that they're like fascist media outlets or something like that. The Post Millennial, Andy No wrote a report about the shooting in Rhode Island for the Post Millennial, so that's helpful, just in terms of getting accurate information. But CTV News, Global News, the CBC all reported on the teenager. I didn't read any reports about Rhode Island on those outlets yet, but obviously the teenager, because that was a Canadian shooting that happened in Tumbler Ridge in BC. So all of the Canadian media outlets were covering it, and they all reported on this kid. I mean, he's 18, so he
is a man.
Yeah. Somebody on Twitter got snarky at me for calling him a man, and I was like, he is a man. And he's accountable. I mean, not anymore because he's dead, but they reported on him as her, and some of them reported on him as female, and still even up until recently, this news is now a week old. I think it happened last Tuesday. And these outlets were reporting on him as she and her, and they're still doing it up until yesterday's reports are still saying her.
And did they say a woman in a dress?
Yeah.
When did they ever report on a mass shooter based on what they're wearing? Yeah, a woman in a dress, the gun person, and that guy shot up his whole family too. He killed his mother and his siblings, and then went and killed a bunch of kids at school. It's infuriating, and it will get recorded as female crime
in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really unforgivable. And then of course, all of these progressives were online complaining about people politicizing this shooting while insisting that, this has nothing to do with the shooter's gender identity, and then starting to go on about, we're really concerned and we stand with the trans community and the LGBTQ community, and start talking about trans violence and the violence that the transes suffer. And I'm like, it makes me want to lose my mind how lacking in self-awareness progressives are, and how much they project. Everything that they do, they accuse the other side of doing. Like, it's so often such literal. It's like, you're politicizing this, you're turning this into a trans thing. I know some people are on the right are turning it into a trans thing too, but the reality of it is that, like, the point is that it's a male in both cases. These are males, psychotic, deranged males with fetishes, who are obviously creeps and weirdos and narcissists. And that's the point. Like, the point isn't the gender identity. There's no such thing as a gender identity, but it's wild that they can see that. Men
with a trans identity are more dangerous, and that, the FBI recognized that for years. They commit far more crimes proportionally than men who don't identify as trans. It's maddening to argue with the trans activists, because they're always bringing up the point of, why do you care about this tiny oppressed minority? It's such a tiny, tiny proportion of the population. Why do you even care? But for such a tiny oppressed minority, they sure do commit a lot of violent crimes.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I guess I see it as, I can't say for sure if I'm right or not right, but my sense is that these men who identify as women or identify as trans are, first of all, narcissists, and are the kinds of men who not only will take their perversions out into the public realm, but that's what they get off on. So what they get off on is ignoring women and the boundaries of women and girls in particular, because that's who they would most likely be a danger to. But in general, ignoring social norms and boundaries, and forcing their perversion onto other people, which should be a very obvious red flag of someone who's dangerous, a predator, a creep, whatever, right?
And then on top of that, they're pumped up on cross-sex hormones and often all kinds of psych meds on top of that. And they're chemically deranged in addition to being narcissistic and delusional.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of people have been saying that, and I completely believe that, though I don't know enough about how these drugs would impact a male brain or psyche to know if that would make them more likely to perpetrate violence.
Possibly. We will never have the studies on that, right? They're going to refuse to do it. Yeah. I know I've said this before, but when I worked as an inpatient psych nurse, everyone acknowledged that the most dangerous patients were narcissistic males with fixed delusions. That those men are the most likely to harm you and to harm people in the community. That if someone doesn't affirm their delusion, they suffer a narcissistic injury and they become violent. And we have coddled these men. We have given these men inordinate power. They're a sacred caste on the left among progressives. There's nothing these men can do where they won't be defended by progressives.
Yeah. I mean, narcissistic men, anyone who's been in an abusive relationship with a man, so many of these abusive men are also narcissists. And they're really scary, aggressive, manipulative people who don't respect boundaries and don't see themselves as fallible and are not accountable, and gaslight, which is, of course, what the entire trans movement is. It's just one mass gaslighting. No, you don't see a penis in your change room. I'm a woman.
That's a woman's penis. That's a woman with a penis. It's so maddening. And yeah, I don't understand why the progressives won't back down on it.
I guess, I mean, I feel like it's part of it is that it's too late for them. And I think that, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that they want to admit that they screwed up. Right? Like, because I don't think most of them, I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but like, I don't think most of them literally believe that these guys are women. But I mean, they're also pretty stupid. So maybe a lot of them have twisted around in their heads. A lot of people have confused intersex with trans. And so they think like, oh, well, if you have a vagina, then that makes you, it's a female body part. So that makes you intersex at least. You know, there's something like they think there is a biological component in that sense.
Yeah, I think they're so dug in deep, like religious zealots, that they would, the cognitive dissonance they would have to wrestle with to start acknowledging they might be wrong is overwhelming to them. And losing face is painful. It's really hard to admit you were wrong about something, something very fundamental, something obviously untruthful. Like you've been parroting lies. You've been saying ridiculous things. You've been supporting the castration of children. You've been supporting pediatric mastectomies. You've been supporting locking
child abuse.
Yeah, child abuse. You've been supporting locking up nonviolent female prisoners with convicted rapists, like in the same cell. Been supporting atrocities and ridiculousness. It must be very hard to back out of that.
Yeah. And because it's such a horrific lie, it's a ridiculous, and like, so you look really, really stupid that you went along with this, or you look dishonest and you participated in such egregious harm in such a wide variety of ways. Like,
yeah,
it's not like, oh, I believed that politician would do this thing and then he didn't.
There's also the tribalism and the blind partisanship of, I can't let myself believe anything Donald Trump believes. I can't let myself believe anything that I've been told is a right-wing idea. And people are so locked in this purity culture of the, I can't read the Daily Mail. I can't read the New York Post. I can't believe something that the Heritage Foundation promotes. I can't have common ground with the enemy because that makes me the enemy, because they will get kicked out. They know this issue is the biggest one that'll get you canceled of everything, right? Like that, of all of the people getting kicked out of the progressive sphere over the last 15 years, the vast majority of them have been kicked out because of this issue. Like most of the academic cancellations have been over this issue. So many of the getting kicked out of political organizations. I know so many women who used to work for the ACLU who got kicked out of that organization over this issue. This is a social death sentence on the left to admit that you no longer believe in the trans insanity.
Helena is asking what the rattling sound is.
Oh, there are 60-mile-an-hour winds going on outside, so that is my air conditioner hopefully not blowing off the roof.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I know, it's a really crazy windstorm. And when that happens in Albuquerque, it gets really like psycho-spiritually intense. Like there are ghosts flying around and everybody's agitated. And it's a very tense time when it's windy here.
Okay. If you're watching, I forgot to mention earlier, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you have questions or comments that you'd like us to address in the live stream, please use the super chat. So for those who don't know, I mean, most of you probably are aware of what happened. There was a mass school shooting in Tumbler Ridge, BC. The young man's name was Jesse Strang. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
So he's also referred to in the news as Jesse Van Root Solar, but I don't know why.
So I think it's like his avatar name, Root Cellar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So it's like his gaming name or these kids are so immature and so online.
Such losers.
They're in this like Comic-Con culture where there's LARPing all the time, these fake identities. So I think that was his name that he chose for himself.
I just really think, I mean, everyone always gets mad at me when I criticize gaming culture, but I just think it's all really bad because it seems to me like the trans thing is so tied up in the hyper online world. That's, they are in this gaming world and this world of like streaming everything. And then they're on the forums talking about the streaming and they're watching these streamers and then they're all being funneled pornography and they all have these like anime avatars and they just live in this complete and total fantasy world that's completely disconnected from the outside world. They're completely antisocial. I mean, this guy, Jesse, he was playing this video game where he was literally playing like a gunman in a mall. Did you see this?
No, he was playing that video game that he was shooting people up.
Yeah. It was okay. So a Roblox account. I don't know what that is. I don't want to know what that is.
Roblox is a multiplayer role-playing game. Like it's a building game for little kids, but a lot of pedophiles are on there grooming children. It's making worlds. It's a little bit like Minecraft. I'm sure the hardcore gamers will have all kinds of criticisms with how I just described it, but that's good enough for our purposes.
Okay. I've not heard of this before. Yeah. A Roblox account belonging to the Canadian mass shooter was discovered by the internet forum Kiwi Farms. Thank God for Kiwi Farms, eh? Last night. Right. One of the games created by the shooter is a mall shooting simulator modeled after a mall in Canada where the player can fire into a crowd of terrified civilians. At the time of writing, this game can still be downloaded by users of all ages, regardless of parental controls. Roblox deleted the shooter's account, but left the game up. So this was posted on X last February 11th, so I don't know if it's...
That's an issue in gaming culture that it's like, what we worry about with AI porn and there's porn in gaming as well that, they're participating in very violent, crazy, unhinged fantasies when they're gaming. They're killing people. Their games, I know that Grand Theft Auto was infamous for having like your character can rape other characters. It's a really seedy, horrible subculture. I don't even know what to call it, subculture. Like it's such a high percentage of young men in particular participating in that.
Yeah. And I just think in general, it's just not good for young people to be, and it's not good for anybody, but it's particularly not good for young people to be online that much. No. And I just wonder why parents allow it. Like, I don't know why you don't make your kid go outside and get off the internet, which is clearly such a dangerous place for kids to be spending a lot of time on unsupervised.
Well, the parents are addicted to screens and everybody's working. Nobody's at home anymore with their kids. Nobody's attending to their kids. People are burned out and just want to hook their kid in with an electronic babysitter. And then by the time they're a teenager, they're complete screen addicts.
Yeah.
And they're bigger than you.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. And this guy, Jesse, he had already tried to kill his whole family once before. A couple years ago. Yeah, this was reported in the Telegraph. A couple years ago, so a neighbor told the Telegraph that a couple of years ago, this Jesse guy lit his family's house on fire because he was trying to kill his own family and almost burnt the house down. And he was just sitting out in the front yard when the fire trucks arrived.
And his family was in the house?
And the cops didn't do anything about it. Yeah. Well, I mean, they obviously got out of the house, but they were in there at the time. He was trying to kill them all.
Wow.
He had an unregistered shotgun. That's what he used to kill Jennifer and Emmett Jacobs. He had a gun license that expired in 2024 and had no weapons that were registered to him. This was reported in Global News as no weapons registered to her, of course. And a second weapon was found at the home. There were other weapons in the home that were seized. He had been taken away to these mental health institutions a couple times already. The police had attended the family's home on multiple occasions over the past several years due to concerns about Jesse's mental health. He was apprehended at least twice under BC's Mental Health Act and taken to the hospital in some circumstances. There was so many warning signs leading up to this. He seemed like a really psychopathic person. There was a video circulating on X of him. I don't know if you saw this one, kind of like laughing hysterically.
The maniacal laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Maniacal is another way to describe that.
Yeah. It's really crazy.
And, you know, like for all, it's just so ironic because for all of the talking and virtue signaling that, you know, progressives and that they do in Canada, the Canadian government does around like mental health and mental illness and mental health awareness. And, you know, we care so much about the mental health of kids. And it's like, this is happening right in front of you. This kid is obviously deranged and mentally ill and dangerous, and you didn't do anything about it. And now he he killed, I think, 8 people, right? So he killed the mother, I think it was his stepbrother, and then 5 kids and a teacher.
This is the first school shooting in Canada that I know of. Like you don't have these in Canada like we have here, right?
No, that's a really pretty significant thing.
And is anybody discussing that this is a trans-identified kid who was affirmed? Like no one could say, oh, it's because no one was telling him he actually was a woman, that he had to do this. Nobody's addressing it.
Not really, not in Canada. I mean, it's impossible in any of the mainstream channels to address it because nobody will say it. Yeah. Again, like on alternative, somebody pointed out on X that, you know, we probably wouldn't even know that these 2 men were men or that they identified as trans if not for X.
Right.
I mean, maybe we would know by now, but we would have taken people a really long time. And where would we have talked about it then? You know, it would have ended up on the podcast at some point.
It would have taken quite a bit of photoshopping to make the Rhode Island shooter not look male. The guy was just a hulking autogynephile in all the pictures. But that's what they used to do. Remember the gaslighting around Brianna Wu before he finally came out? That we were
nobody could. It was impossible to find out if he was a man or not. I remember spending so much time online. Like everything online had been erased because he's a tech guy, right? So he knows how to do that kind of thing. And there was no trace of it anywhere except for on Kiwi Farms, which they kept trying to destroy over and over and over and over again. But you couldn't find that information anywhere that he was actually a man.
I know. It was crazy how much it was stripped. There was somebody in the Obama administration as well who was one of the he was a bigwig in the implementation of the Affordable Care Act who was obviously trans, and you couldn't find anything. The guy had this crazy jawline and these huge hands, but you couldn't find anything about him being trans. So we were before Twitter was freed, we were all just stuck feeling crazy. Like the psychological abuse of this movement, like this is psychological warfare, especially against women, but against everybody. what we were living under was so bad. Brianna Wu being the biggest example. Like every woman onto this issue knew that was a man. You could just tell. No number of filters can make him look female, and you couldn't find anything. So, and now they're still trying to do it, but at least the right has picked this up as a winning issue. At least they're talking about it now. For a while, remember, we were desperate to get anybody to hear us on this issue. I remember talking at the Heritage Foundation, and it was such a relief that anyone, right or left, was finally paying attention to this issue. Even the right-wing media sources wouldn't touch it because it was such a third rail.
No, and people didn't take it seriously either. Like people just didn't think it was a big deal. Like I think that the right, part of the reason the right didn't touch it is because they just didn't really get it. Like they didn't get, like maybe they could have gotten it in some kind of religious sense in the same way that they thought that being gay was wrong, like those types. But I don't think they understood what a big threat it was to women and girls and children. Like I don't think people realized what was going to happen.
There were hardcore religious right-wingers pushing transgenderism. Rick Santorum was a proponent of transgenderism. Pat Robertson was a proponent of transgenderism. I know that Matt Walsh and his ilk love to just blame this on feminism, but Pat Robertson said there's nothing wrong with it, and it would be a good solution if someone, instead of being same-sex attracted. Rick Santorum said the same thing. These are men who are so profoundly sexist and so overtly cruel in their ideas about the rights they think women should have. And they were completely pushing this, and that's all been memory hold. So there were lots of voices on the right. There were many right-wing and conservative families who were so relieved to be able to trans their gay kid.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at the end of the day, this is political because it really was the left that pushed this, and the Democrats and the NDP and the liberals and, the conservatives all voted in favor of Bill C-16 too in Canada. But the conservatives in Canada are a pretty progressive party. They're not particularly right wing. But it still was, at the end of the day, the people who told the truth about it were still just people telling the truth about it. Because it was a lot of left-wing women and feminists. It was people like Joe Rogan, who was never right-wing. Jordan Peterson, which, everybody at the time really tarred him as some like far-right extremist misogynist. But I don't know that was necessarily true at that point when he started voicing his concern. Like people like,
yeah, he would have been a moderate not that long ago.
Yeah, I think he would have just been kind of a real liberal. He identified as a classical liberal, I think.
Yeah.
He's probably more right-wing now, and he's religious and things like that, or he's Catholic. I'm not saying that in a critical way. I'm just saying.
This issue will make you lean more right? It's just like you start to think maybe the left is full of just demonic insanity, and it's going to be the end of civilization if we keep going down that route. Like this particular issue is like a nuclear bomb on society.
Well, the left is not rooted in reality, and their goal is not reality. Their goal is a fantasy world and a fantasy utopia. Like nothing that they believe in or advocate for is rooted in anything practical or true.
Yeah.
I don't think. Not anymore in any case.
Right.
Somebody in the live chat says, I don't know the answer to this question. Maybe Mary Lou does. Brother B says, was Alex Jones right about the water making the frogs gay?
Yes. So he is right about that. The researcher...
Another thing Alex Jones was right about.
Well, Dr. Tyrone Hayes is the one who broke that story. Like he was the one who did the original research on what was happening to the frogs. He was a biologist, a frog researcher, really cool guy. Who's just he describes himself as a grown-up little boy who loves frogs. And he was noticing endocrine disruption in amphibians, especially frogs, and that many of the male frogs were producing eggs in their testes, and something was spurring, like estrogenizing the frogs and spurring the males to make sterile eggs and the males to want to mate with other males. And he did a lot of research on it and found that there's a chemical called atrazine, which is it's used in agriculture as an herbicide. So it's poured on all of our non-organic fields, and it gets into all the water supplies, and that has a feminizing effect on mammals as well, on frogs, on fish, on all aquatic creatures. Atrazine turns off an enzyme called aromatase. Aromatase turns testosterone into estrogen. So he went after.
Wait. It turns testosterone into estrogen. How?
So all of our sex hormones are made of the same building blocks, and it's an enzyme that breaks up the testosterone, and then the body converts those metabolites into estrogen in the body. So aromatase inhibitors are given to turn off estrogen, to like stop people from having estrogen in their body. So atrazine is an aromatase. Atrazine. I need to like research this more, but atrazine is an endocrine disruptor that gets into the frog's body, makes the frog be estrogenized, and makes male frogs create eggs and want to mate with other male frogs. So yes, there are chemicals in the water that are turning the frogs gay.
Good question, Brother B.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments says that talking about Alex Jones is going to get me demonetized. I just said his name again. It's okay, you guys. I really don't make very much money off these live streams. It's not going to make that much difference. Beatrix says his mom affirmed him and he killed her anyway. And I thought that was like an interesting point that I also noticed some people making. I think maybe Colin Wright or someone like that. But like it's the thing that they're always railing on against about the trans activists is that you have to affirm these kids and their gender identity, otherwise they'll kill themselves, or they'll become super mentally ill, and they'll be happier and not mentally ill and not suicidal if you affirm. And both of these men killed themselves and killed a bunch of other people and were super, super mentally ill after they decided that they were trans or trans women or whatever. Full, total bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
basically,
what they will say is until every person in the world affirms them, they're at risk of suicide and they might become violent. So if anyone, some turf across the continent and affirm them, it's her fault that they shot up a school.
Megan Wisdom says, I take DIM for PMDD. Is that how it works? It detoxes estrogen somehow.
Just let me look it up here. I can't. I'm tired after my day and I would fail the test.
Sorry to test you.
Yeah, I know, right? Yes. So let me see. DIM is an aromatase inhibitor. And aromatase, okay, so atrazine gets turned into aromatase in the body, and aromatase is an enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. And taking an aromatase inhibitor blocks excess estrogen in the body because of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the second shooter in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, he killed his ex-wife, Rhonda. He killed his son, Aiden. And then I think 3 people are in critical condition. And he killed himself. Is that correct? So his name, Robert Dorgan. He was going by Roberta Esposito. He's 56 years old. He was born in 69, I think they said. That would make sense. Math. He opened fire in the stands of his son's match, his hockey game. He shot 3 of his children. He's just,
it's so bad.
So disgusting. And they're all the freaking same. I mean, I've interviewed several of these, they call themselves trans widows. I interviewed some of them on Feminist Current, and then, you know, I think one of them on the same drugs at some point. But if you listen to their stories or read their stories, you know, all the stories are very similar. There are these guys who are a bit narcissistic to begin with, usually, and then fall into these porn rabbit holes, and then come across tranny porn and start being interested in so-called cross-dressing, and then they want to have sex with their wives in these lady outfits, then they want to wear the lady outfits out in public, and then they want to wear the lady outfits full-time, and, you know, they often have discovered all these tranny forums, and they start, you know, being really just obsessed. They get really, really obsessed with the pornography and with their identities, and become like uber narcissists, and often become, you know, abusive, and either emotionally or otherwise. And it sounds like that's what happened with this guy. When they divorced, the wife, the soon-to-be ex-wife, said the reason for divorce was narcissism. Where is it? Oops. Narcissism. Okay. In 2020, Rhonda, who worked at a state mental health facility, filed for divorce. In the handwritten section listing the reason for the divorce, she initially wrote gender reassignment surgery, narcissistic and personality disorder traits. The statement was later crossed out and replaced with irreconcilable differences, which have caused the immediate breakdown of marriage. I mean, I'm sure he was such a bully and somehow bullied her into doing that.
The courts did. The courts are all on the sides of these guys.
Right.
Yeah.
She probably figured out somehow it would be easier for her to get the divorce. It would be less screwed around if she just wrote irreconcilable differences instead of being accused of being a transphobe or something like that.
Yeah, she could lose custody of her kids. She could get hit with parental alienation syndrome, or parental alienation charges, where she would be told she can't badmouth her dad. Crazy. Okay, so he left one daughter alive. Like, she gave an interview. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that she was talking to the media, and she said something like he was a very sick man.
Yeah, good for her. Poor her. I can't imagine the trauma of this. Is he still alive, or did he kill himself too?
He killed himself too, I believe.
Of course he did. Yeah,
so the Jorgen's daughter told reporters that Robert was very sick, and then said, he shot my family and he's dead now. And I mean, it's just peak. I mean, this is what abusive narcissistic men do all the time, is kill their whole families and then kill themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they do it a lot.
I know. And again, for such a tiny subset of the population, there's such a small number of people. Why do you even care? They are committing an inordinate number of mass shootings.
And it's just unbelievable that people are still pretending that trans is a real thing. Like, I want to know what these people think about these two guys. Like, are they arguing that they aren't really trans? Because that's often what they do when these guys do really bad stuff, is they say they weren't really trans. That guy in the change room wasn't really trans. He was just a pervert in the change room. And it's like, well, he said he's trans. So what's the difference between this guy in the change room with his dick out saying he's trans, and that man over there who's, you know, in the Biden administration, who's saying he's trans, or, you know, stealing women's suitcases at the airport, or, you know, saying that he's
like, which one in the Biden?
Yeah, exactly, which one?
Yeah, so the Biden administration was full of perverts. Like, that we had to put up with that. Yeah, and that's there's no connection between him being under the trans umbrella and him stealing women's suitcases so he can wear their clothes. The two have nothing to do with each other.
Right. And then we see, did you see the guy who played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs?
Did he apologize?
Yeah, he apologized. He apologized for, not respecting the transes. While depicting this like horrific, sadistic torturer, murderer.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because he's not a real trans. That's right,
when these mass shootings occur, they're left, the progressives are left in this conundrum of they don't want these guys to be misgendered. They're upset if they're not acknowledged by their preferred pronouns. But then it also puts them in this place of having like they want to claim them as one of their own, right? Like they're embracing them by doing that, right? Like this whole issue is so maddening. It just makes no sense.
I know, it's enraging. Yeah, so Ted Levine says, there are certain aspects of the movie, this is in a recent interview with the Hollywood Reporter, there are certain aspects of the movie that don't hold up too well. So this movie now, Silence of the Lambs, is now 35 years old, I think.
Yeah.
And he says, we all know more, and I'm a lot wiser about transgender issues. There are some lines in that script and movie that are unfortunate. And so while he didn't have concerns while making the movie, he has now developed a fuller understanding of the trans experience in ensuing decades. It's just over time and having gotten aware and worked with trans folks and understanding a bit more about the culture and the reality of the meaning of gender. It's unfortunate that the film vilified that, and it's fucking wrong. You can quote me on that.
He said that. Okay.
And then he said, I didn't play him. So then he goes on to say he's not a real trans. He says, I didn't play him as being gay or trans. I think he was just a fucked up heterosexual man. That's what I was doing. It was like, yeah, he was a fucked up heterosexual man, like all the rest of the autogonophiles.
Exactly. They're all fucked up heterosexual men. Meanwhile, that was actually the most brilliant and accurate depiction of an autogynephile in all of cinematography. Yeah.
One of the producers of the movie too actually said something similar, saying Edward Saxon, who was Jonathan Demm's producing partner, said that the filmmaking team had not anticipated that their work would cause pain for the LGBTQ viewers. We were really loyal to the book, he said. As we made the film, there was just no question in our minds that Buffalo Bill was a completely aberrant personality, that he wasn't gay or trans. He was sick, like all the transes are. To that extent, we missed it. From my point of view, we weren't sensitive enough to the legacy of a lot of sensitive enough to what legacy? This one that we just saw, where one of these autogonophile creeps murdered his family. Sensitive enough to the legacy of a lot of stereotypes and their ability to harm. Like, how are you saying this out loud? Like, these Hollywood people are so gross to me. Like, I feel that basically almost anyone who's been successful in Hollywood and actually in pop culture in general, like any pop star, I think that they've all completely sold out and sold their souls.
Ooh, that's a good segue. Are they drinking baby blood?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. But like,
yeah,
how do you say that out loud? You don't have to. Like, I'm sure these people all have plenty of money.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say that.
No, it's true that the only way to survive in that industry and to stay relevant is to be up with the current thing. And you have to be promoting transgenderism and hypersexuality and whatever.
And hate Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And mask up and BLM,
right?
And get out ICE and every single other thing that you're told to say that doesn't make any sense, that you don't understand and that you don't care about at all.
Is this guy who played Buffalo Bill, is he out of money and trying to find roles and he needs to redeem himself so he can still get a job in Hollywood?
I don't know. Maybe.
It could be what's going on.
But I mean, they all do it, even the ones that are successful. And I feel like the ones that don't go along with the party line, or ones who've hinted at all the grossness that's going on behind the scenes, they all get canceled somehow. You know, Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson.
Suicided like Trevor Moore. You know, it's just, yeah, it's very obvious that you can't speak out against it.
Yeah. Anyway, gross week for the transes. I'm sure we'll continue to have more gross weeks for the transes until people decide that they want to start being honest, which unfortunately too many people don't want.
Right.
I'm so tired of people who are offended by people speaking frankly and won't do it themselves. And because they won't do it, they get mad when other people do it. I mean, the amount of people that think I am, and I'm sure they do this to you too, you know, I'm pretty blunt and straightforward, I think, and who just get mad at me for saying like something that's true, something that I actually believe, just in a very straightforward way. And they're like, you can't say that. I'm like, I can say that. And
right.
I did.
And you also can say it. You can say it too. And
it's much easier than not saying it or skirting around or pretending.
Right. It's okay to say. We have a whole like children's book about that. The Emperor's New Clothes. You can call it out. It's noble.
Yeah, exactly. We have fairy tales about that.
You better say it. Otherwise, you're not the noble character in the story if you're going along with the lie.
No, none of these people are noble. None of them have integrity. None of them are respectable. They're all pathetic cowards. And and they think that they're the do-gooders and they're the full opposite. And I'm glad that I believe in karma.
Good. All right.
Anyway, happy year of the fire horse.
Yeah, happy year of the fire horse. And tomorrow is the start of Lent. Are you giving anything up for Lent?
No, I didn't know it was Lent, and I've never given anything up for Lent, and I have never given anything up for anything, so I don't intend to start now. What are you giving up? No, what would I give up? I like everything that I have.
I am working hard to really limit my screen time in Lent, and I'm giving up the just the mindless scrolling. I'm going to give up Instagram. It's funny. I don't trust myself. I'm like, I'm going to work really hard to do it, but I just don't believe I can actually do it. And then I'm also giving up sugar and flour for Lent.
Ugh, I really should. Meghan is also giving up. Meghan Wisdom is also giving up sugar for Lent. I really should stop eating candy. I really should actually try to. I'm not going to say give up sugar because there's sugar in stuff that
totally
obvious. Like there's sugar in like, I don't know, your steak sauce or something like that, right? But I should. I've been eating a lot of candy and cake lately, and I should probably stop doing that.
Foods that are intentionally designed to be a vehicle for sugar. You could give those up. Yeah.
Okay. I'll give it a try. I don't like, it's the same reason I don't like New Year's resolutions, right?
I know.
I'm more of a like, I'll try to do this less or I'll try to do this more. I don't like these extremes, but is Lent a week? Is it 7 days?
No, it's 40 days.
40 days? Okay, there's no way. I'm not even,
it's from now until
my beach trains for 40 days. My blue sharks.
You can't do it. What are the blue sharks? What's that?
The blue and white sharks or whales. I think they're sharks.
You like those?
I buy those. You know, I don't know if you remember in Sayulita, there's a guy that goes down the beach with his giant wheelbarrow full of candies.
Oh, the candy guy. Yeah.
I love
blue
that
sharks.
candy guy. So I buy peach rings, like the sour peach rings and the blue and white sharks. And then sometimes, I know I shouldn't because of the red dye, but they have these like red gummy hearts that are also delicious. I need to really stop eating those.
I don't think the blue dye is any better for you.
Okay, yeah, you're probably right.
And the peach rings.
I just know there was a big thing about the red dye. It's like, I should stop eating red candies, but that's my favorite flavor. And the peach rings, I'm sure, have red in them because they're like orangey.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think there's any hierarchy of which of these candies are healthier for you.
Oh,
I
yes.
think they're all equally.
Says, I love the peach rings and Swedish fish. I used to love the Swedish fish also. They don't have any Swedish fish in that wheelbarrow. The guy doesn't.
They don't. So do you get a scoop? Like, how do you buy?
I just say some of those and then you just.
And how much they put in the bag?
You put some, and then if you want more, you say más.
Okay, got it.
Un poquito más.
And then do they weigh it, or they just kind
of? Yeah, and then I got a bag full of gummies on the beach on Sunday, and like took it home with me and ate the whole thing. And I was like, my stomach. That was a bad idea. There's so much sugar, and I had like such a weird bad sleep because I ate so much sugar before bed. It was not.
Yeah, that's the thing, just like letting go of a habit that's not bringing you health and happiness.
I do really like gummies. I should have just gotten away smaller, but like I should have just gotten 10 of them. Because I start eating them and then I eat the whole thing. Like whatever gummies I have in my house, I eat all of them. So I have to not have any gummies in my house or have like a limited. I think it's okay to eat gummies sometimes, but you really need to eat this many gummies on Sunday night before bed.
So in the Catholicism I was raised, get Sunday off in Lent, so you can have your gummies on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try to keep it in mind. I'm not committing. I'll try. I'll do.
Yeah. I like it better than New Year's resolutions because it is a much shorter time period, and it's not like I'm going to do this all year. And there's also that acknowledgement that we're all fuck ups and sinners. So you just try to get back on track, Like I gave it up for Lent. I messed up. So I'm going to get back on track tomorrow. Like there's no, like I'm a failure forever. Like New Year's resolutions they just make me feel bad about myself. I'm just not going to continue that forever.
Yeah. I mean, most people fail at their New Year's resolution. So to me, it's pointless because you just end up feeling bad about yourself and you didn't accomplish anything. So
it's interesting. I wonder how people feel about Lent. Like I wonder what it does to people psychologically to fail at their Lenten resolutions.
Catanzi says, ¿Hablas español ahora? No, not really. I mean, un poquito.
Entiendo más que hablo.
Mary Lou can
Mi español es no bueno.
I keep flirting with all these men by saying, well, I need a Mexican boyfriend.
I feel like it's a character flaw.
I'm like, no, I need a Mexican boyfriend.
I've lived in a bilingual place for so long. Like there's so much Spanish spoken here, and I just can't pick it up the way I was pretty proficient in French. I'm not now, but it was easy for me to pick up that language. Spanish is a much harder one for me.
Yeah, same. I have that experience also. And we're adults, so it's harder for us to learn, much harder for us to learn new languages.
Yeah. Plus I have a speech impediment and I can't roll my R's.
Oh, you can't? I can't.
I've never been able to since I was a little girl. If I were born into a Spanish speaking country, I'd be like the kid with the terrible speech impediment.
I can roll my R's.
Good. Everyone else can. I can't.
I know. I mean, there's a lot of people here who try to speak Spanish and can't roll their R's, and they sound pretty bad. So I don't think
it's terrible.
There's certain people from certain places with certain accents that just, I think, permanently sound bad when they try to speak Spanish. My Irish friends, no offense, they're very lovely, but they sound horrible when they try to speak Spanish.
Yeah, that's how I am. Like, yeah, I think I'm doing well. And then people have no idea what I just said because I'm putting the emphasis on the wrong part of the word and I can't roll my R's. And it's just.
You need a Mexican boyfriend.
No, I don't. I don't.
All righty.
All right.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. This has been Where Are All the Women? I'm Meghan Murphy. This is Mary Lou Singleton. I'll be back next week with Mary Kate Delvey as my co-host on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And this will go up in video podcast form on Spotify later tonight, hopefully.
All right.
Okay.
See you.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye.